Welcome to Touchline. I'm your host, Anthony Totera, here in the OSA studios with newly arrived CTO Alex Chiet. Alex, welcome to this great province of ours in this great country of Canada. Thanks for coming here and joining us on Touchline.
No, thank you, Anthony. It's good to be here.
It's my pleasure. Alex, let's talk about how you came about coming to this position. You're coming from another continent in New Zealand, a beautiful country. But how did you end up here?
To be completely honest, it's family first for me. I've married a Canadian lass, and in New Zealand at the time we had 2 young kids, and with the role I had at the time I was away from home a lot, and it was tough work for her, and what's best for the family is being in Canada, close to the support network that's here. So out in Oshawa where we are at the moment, both her parents live out there, all her school friends, and she's also got a brother-in-law, her brother, my brother-in-law in the city in Toronto. So it was a great security blanket there, support blanket for us to raise a young family.
Well, in my books, that's a positive start because he puts family first, and that's what it's all about. So good for you, Alex. Now, Alex, let's talk about what your day-to-day duties are here, because a lot of people want to know what you brought, what experience you brought from New Zealand here, and what you're going to do on day-to-day duties here at the OSA.
Yeah, well, to start with day-to-day duties, I suppose for the first month it's about absorbing information for me, finding out about what's going on, internal systems and processes, finding a lot out about the landscape, the geography, how things work, where the challenges are, the governance systems, the governance structures. So to begin with, there's a bit of 101 Ontario, but as I start to roll things out, I've really been sort of chiefed or briefed with the mandate to implement long-term player development throughout Ontario as a province. So for me, that involves it's a holistic approach to what we're looking to do. So it's looking at coach development, it's looking at referee development, it's looking at player development, it's looking at the competitive structure, it's looking at admin support that goes with that, and looking at how best to grow the game from grassroots through to recreation, through to elite pathways within this province.
But Alex, let's be honest, a lot of people want to know what you're bringing to the table that others maybe in the past haven't brought. Is there some new refreshing things that you want to implement, your own style, your own way, that's going to take the OSA by storm?
Well, through skills, experience and qualifications, I think I've gained quite an array of experiences throughout my working career. First and foremost, I've played the game my whole life. So I started at 5 years old and I played semi-professionally overseas, and also played in the top domestic or amateur league in New Zealand for 8 years. I had a few injuries in that time, so probably only played about 5 seasons. So I've been a student of the game. It's what's got me out of bed. I've made decisions about secondary schools. I've made decisions about universities based on what was best for my soccer direction. I've then gone into a working career where I've worked as a soccer development officer for an equivalent of a province, but a region in New Zealand, where I've worked on systems and structures within the volunteer network at clubs to recruit, to reward and ensure that there's retention of volunteers. Worked in schools on delivering curriculum and programs, done some coaching licenses. I've also worked in the education system abroad, but more importantly, and I suppose what people are more aware of is most recently working for New Zealand Football. So I had just over 2 years at New Zealand Football, where I was the high performance manager there. So my role was to work with all the 7 national teams, from senior men down to under 17 men, senior women down to under 17 women, trying to ensure that we had a performance culture amongst all teams that was consistent, working on systems and processes to ingrain that, working on, I suppose what you say is moving things forward collectively, trying to work out what were we trying to develop in a player, what were the characteristics, what sort of brand of football did we want to play, understanding what strengths we had and also what weaknesses, and trying to work on that in the development of our players, rather than an under-17 coach doing what they wanted to do in regard to development, under-20 coach doing what they wanted to do. We needed to put the player first and look at the characteristics and move forward.
So what you're saying, Alex, is everyone has to sing off the same hymn sheet, no matter what.
It was all about alignment and integration, and if we have individuals doing what they want, then we're not going to move forward. We're doing a disservice to the game.
And what's really refreshing, Alex has actually played the game of soccer. Wow! And he's at the OSA and he's bringing a lot of knowledge, and that's great to hear, because a lot of people would love to know what you've just said, is you've played the game of soccer with players like Andrew Boyens, the former New Zealand national who played in the World Cup in South Africa. You helped out there. Talk a little bit about that experience before we go ahead.
Well, I played with Andy in the National League in New Zealand, so the top soccer league. So he was a young player coming through the reserve team, and I wouldn't say the word mentor, but it was just really encouraging to play a season with such a young player that was coming through, keen to learn, looking for growth and development, keen for any sort of assistance, looking in ways to raise the bar and challenge himself, and to have played a part in his development has been great. And obviously, and he said this to me, I caught up with him when he was in town earlier this year to play TFC. Toronto is still his favourite city in the world. He's gone on to carve out a career in the game, which has been brilliant, and obviously there's the World Cup experience, which was a very special journey for the country and for him personally as well.
Fantastic guy, Andrew Boyens. I can say that without a doubt. He came to my son's team, helped him a bit on the days he wasn't playing with TFC, and he loved training the kids. He will be a great coach one day. That is a great guy, Andrew Boyens. Alex, let's talk about the long-term player development program. I've heard a lot of people that are resistant to this, a lot of people that, again, are going to say to you, Alex, you need to sell me on this, because as you and I both know, it's all, unfortunately, about the wins. And mom and dad, if they aren't seeing their son or daughter on a team that is winning at all costs, they're going to just pick up and move and move and move. Mm-hmm. And I think that is so wrong. I, myself, have changed in the last number of years with two boys where I want to see my boy develop before winning. Talk about this big program.
Yeah, it's, you know, and I'm glad you're saying what you're saying. I think there's a real lack of understanding and awareness of what long-term player development is. So we've got some initiatives happening very shortly. So early next month we were bringing together some key thinkers, and there has already been some gatherings where ideas and thoughts have been developed, and this is really the next step on to collate those and bring them to some sort of structure, and we really are keen on deliverables coming out of that to start to roll out for people at a club at a district level to know and understand what LTPD is. And the problems are there. People know what they know. They've grown up in a system. The system is what they know. So I don't get me wrong, there's going to be a lot of challenges in regard to changing culture, changing mentality, and around what is needed. But current systems, current approaches to coaching, current competitive structures are fundamentally flawed. And around world best practice, what's happening in other countries, and the way the game's going, we need to look at the way we're doing things, and there are some things such as the competitive nature of the competitive structure, it being based on team development rather than individual player development. There's so much associated research these days that is just saying we need to look at what we're doing. We need to look at the development of the player. There's different stages, there's different windows where they need to be getting certain development tools to go on and progress to reach their capability as a player. If we're not hitting those windows, players aren't going to reach their potential later on in life. I
agree, Alex, but let's be honest, we've got to get to the coaches. If we're not going to get to the coaches that want to win at all costs, all this is all for naught, because the coaches are ingrained in their head. At least I know for a lot of them, 75% of them in this province and in this country, it's win, 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 and that's where you get the best players. We should be out there talking to these coaches before the kids.
Oh, I completely agree, and it's bigger than just coaches. It's not just coaches, it's parents, it's administrators, it's everyone that's involved in the game. And when we are ready to go, the messages will be ready to be delivered to all of those people. And there'll be some new coaching material coming down from CSA for the start of next season. We're still waiting to get our hands on it and actually look at what's going to be the best way to deliver it. But with that, you'll see a change in the focus of delivery of material. There's going to have to be material that goes out to parents, coaches, administrators, explaining to them what LTPD is. I don't think people have had the opportunity yet to understand and ask the questions of what it is and why, and to be convinced that it is the right passage and it is right. I don't think, to a lot of people, it's four letters at the moment, and I don't know if it has sort of absorbed and had a chance to wear in on people.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Alex, and I'm on board as a parent to two boys. I'm on board. But again, we are in a province and in a country, we're blessed with so many different nationalities where they're coming from soccer-crazed countries, that they're going to stand up and they're going to say, Alex, who are you to tell me how I've got to coach? I'm here to win, and I'm going to do it my way. And they're going to stand up and say, who is someone at the OSA in an office like Alex telling us what we need to do? Respond to them.
Yeah, well, I think you take the personalities out. It's not me telling people what to do. It's the game, and it's showing people that these same principles are being ingrained and have been ingrained for decades in some places in other countries, and it's part of an approach and a philosophy to learning. And it's not me standing up, it's not the OSA, it's best practice, and it's accepted around the world, and we've got a lot of material to support that, and I think people need to understand that. And there's evidence and there's best practice to say why this needs to happen.
But everybody has to fall in line and do what you're saying, because if we're going to get a crack somewhere and there's some that aren't going to follow, it's going to be all for naught.
Yeah, and this is where we need to look at how the project, how the program is going to be implemented, and then that comes into regard to due diligence and communication plans that come with things, coach development pathways, making sure competitive structures all endorse the same messages and same principles, and this is a big task, and we need to attack it in a strategic manner with formality of process, and make sure we're dotting all our I's and crossing our T's. It's not going to be easy. This is a cultural change that we're talking about.
A massive, massive challenge ahead with that, Alex, and I wish you the best of luck and all the people involved in that, because it's going to be a massive challenge. Let's step ahead and talk about something else that I think is important that we need to discuss. We are blessed here in the GTA with a lot of great coaches, clubs, facilities, you name it. And again, I want to harp out there that it is important that we talk about the rest of the province, the North Bays, the Thunder Bays, the Sudburys, the Sault Ste. Marie's, the Ottawas. I could go on. And I'm really passionate about those cities because they're part of Ontario. They are grooming players as well. But what I've gotten from the AGM and a ton of people that have emailed me and called me and said, Anthony, we don't see our OSA coaches out there helping us out, training some of our coaches, some of our kids. They're always based in the GTA area. When are some of the coaches from here going to go out to our cities and help out? Respond to them.
Yeah, look, I can't comment for what's happened in the past because I haven't been there.
Sure.
But as far as I can see, there's a province to look after, so we have to look after our membership wherever they are. And with new initiatives and around coach development, coach is one of the critical, I suppose, elements in regard to affecting change and to developing the players we want. So we need to get out and work with the coaches that are out there, convince them, show them that there's a new way to affect learning. It's not all about the what to do, it's the how. It's understanding the player, putting the player first, and that will involve whether it's OSA facilitators, instructors, whether it's regional coaches, whoever it is, getting out there to support those messages and work with the coaches wherever they are within the province. So I definitely see that as something that's going to happen. It needs to, for LTPD to be accepted and to be ingrained amongst the province.
Good for you. Let's talk about the professional game here in Ontario, TFC, the Canadian Soccer League, but more specifically TFC. We've heard, and a lot of us have heard, that TFC really needs to do a lot more out in their community, especially with the OSA. Is the OSA and TFC working a lot closer together when it comes to development, players, coaches? Because again, as you said, long-term player development, we should all be entangled together for one goal, and one goal only, is to help the Canadian men's national team get to a World Cup.
Yeah, look, I completely agree, and again we come back to integration and alignment, and if we're both working in that space, it makes sense to be talking to each other so we're aware of where we're going and trying to work together to have more synergies around player development, and we have had some of those conversations. I've already, I think my 4th week into the role, I have already met with TFC and we've had some of those discussions and around there's got to be a better way to do things. So we're going to be looking at those things. That will be part of long-term player development. And when we bring together key thinkers to look at how we're going to move the game forward and look at player development pathways, we would expect TFC presence to be part of there. It's important. They're part of the landscape that we operate in. You
keep mentioning key people that are going to be involved in these meetings. Yeah, I would hope that there's going to be some ex-players that are going to be involved. A Jason Devos, a Bobby Arushi, a Brian Rosenfeld. I could go on, but I think these players are quite important for these type of meetings to be involved, to voice their thoughts and opinions.
Very much so, and how the long-term player development technical advisory committee is coming together on the 20th of June. So at the moment there's applications out, there's nominations throughout the membership for people to put themselves forward if they think they've got the skill set to represent the views of what's needed within Ontario. So all these sorts of people would be encouraging their nominations that will then be sitting down to look at what we've got and trying to get the best people to fit the need that we're looking. And this is the first step, I must add, this is the first step of consultation. This is getting people together and getting some key deliverables out. From then on, there'll be further avenues for consultation and socialisation of what comes out of this meeting, but this is just the first step in this particular phase. So People will still get input, people will still get a chance to have their say, but there's going to be certain non-negotiables along the way because there's certain things that we need to get right now as well.
But what's important is the word communication, and people are going to have their say, and I'd love to hear that from you, Alex. Now, having said that, people, when they think of this center, the OSA Center, they think of a big office, a lot of people working out here, and not too many people getting out there into the community and showing the face. Alex, are people going to see your face around the community, around the province? Because they're going to want to know what you're all about, not just a person that is in the office.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's part of my plan. And in any business, it's relationship management. You've got to get out there and see your people and actually put your ear to the ground and see what's going on. I have probably been more office-bound at the start in the first month, but that's the nature of the beast. There's a lot to get to understand, and also we've got to sort out our own backyard before we go out and preach about where we're going. So once this blueprint or this plan comes together, there's definitely going to be the opportunity. I see there being roadshows and communication. People need to know what's going on, so there'll be avenues for the socialisation, I say, of the plan that will be part of the rollout as I see it. Again, I'm not sure what's going to drop out of this workshop yet, but I definitely see communication and getting out to the people as a key component in that.
That is a great answer. What are some of the new and exciting things that are coming here at the OSA that you're going to be a part of that you can let the viewers out there know?
Well, we've obviously, first and foremost, we've got a very important appointment in regard to our future direction. So there's a manager of coach development that we'll be looking to bring on board in the near future. So we've got an appointment process happening there, and this role is critical in developing the coach development framework and philosophy and implementing the long-term player development philosophy through the education of our instructors and down into the clubs and the people that are working with our players throughout the province. So that's very important coming up. I've touched on the Long-Term Player Development Technical Advisory Council, so that's something we'll be working on as well at the moment. And I'm actually up in Ottawa next week, so I've been invited. I'll be joining the Long-Term Player Development National Working Group, so that'll be a great opportunity to understand what's happening at a national level and engage with the people that are leading the technical direction of the game and represent Ontario at that level as well.
Now, you mentioned about a position that you're looking to hire at that coaching level. A lot of viewers out there, a lot of people always ask me, Anthony, hopefully first and foremost they could look at an Ontario individual, a Canadian individual, before they go outside of the province and country. Is the OSA first and foremost planning on doing that?
Oh, it's an appointment process, so it's gone out. We haven't gone external, so it's been posted within the province. From what I've heard, there are the right people here in the province to do that role.
Betcha.
So I don't see a need to go outside. So like any appointment process, it'll be a matter of people putting their best foot forward and then coming through the process and demonstrating competency in the right areas to give us the confidence that they can do the job.
Yeah, that's great to hear, Alex, because sometimes I think we sell our coaches here in this province and country short, where I think a lot of times we think that the outsider from whatever country they come can do a better job, where I think we are blessed with a lot of smart people here.
Yeah, and from what I understand and from what I'm already hearing, there are a lot of great people out there.
Yes, sir.
And I've already met some of those people, and the more I hear, people are open, they're putting their hands up, they're saying, we're here, we're ready, let us know what we can do to help. The champions in the field, call it what you'd like. There are a lot of great people out there, so it's important that we get one of those great people into this position to help sort of pave the way of the future.
Well, the OSA is lucked out with one great person right here, and Alex Chiet. Alex, good luck. And I would say this to all the viewers out there: give him some time, give him some patience, because he needs it. But he's got his heart in the right place, and he's got everything that he wants to do right for the game of soccer. It's not about Alex; it's about the game of soccer, Alex.
It's definitely right. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here on Touchline.